Arrays are extremely important and useful. And that's why we have more features related to arrays that also are important to understand. Specifically, we have the slice feature. That's a key feature of Go and a feature you'll use a lot. Now, what's a slice? Here we have two arrays, product names and prices. Now, thus far, we learned how we can work with the full array, for example, to output the entire array, or how we can target individual values, like we do it here. Sometimes you also need a subset of an array, so a part of that array, more than one value, but not the entire array. And that's where a slice comes in. Down there, I want to create a slice of my prices. Let's say we want to fetch these two prices, $9.99 and $45.99. So we want to create kind of a new array based on this array that omits the first and last values. That's what a slice can do for us. So let's say our featured prices should be that slice. So that's a brand new variable, which I'll therefore create with the colon equals an operator. And we now can create a slice, so create the value for featured prices based on this prices array by referring to that prices array, and then again using that square bracket notation. But now instead of targeting a single value, like the second or third value, we can now also use a slightly different notation. We can type 1 colon 3. And that creates a slice from that target array, which means we'll take a look at that array, and then we'll start at the element with index 1, which as we learned is the second element. And then we take all the elements up to the element with index 3, excluding that element though. So the first value is always included, the second value is excluded. So this notation would start at the element with index 1, and then would go all the way up to the element with index 3, which in this case is 20. That will have an index 3 since it's the fourth item, but will not include that item but exclude it. So that will create a brand new array, though it's technically called a slice, that will only contain these two values in the middle. So if we now again output that, if we print line featured prices, if we run this program, we see this slice being output here. And of course, that is just that middle part of our original array. And slices therefore are another core feature, since in a lot of applications you do need to work with parts of lists. And slices allow you to easily create brand new lists based on other lists of data. Now, slices are extremely useful and versatile, and there is way more you can do with slices, and you should know about slices. For example, regarding that syntax here. We learned that we can start at some index and end at some index, excluding the value at that index. But you can, for example, also omit the starting index and just write colon and then the end index. If we do this and we run our program, then you'll see that what we get is this kind of list. So it's almost the entire original array, just the last value, the 20, is missing. And the reason for that is that this notation tells Go to start at the beginning of the array or slice which we are targeting, and then go all the way up to some element with some index. You can also do the opposite and maybe start at the element with index 1, so not the first element, but the second element as we learned, and then go all the way to the end of the array or slice which we are targeting. If we would run this code here, we get the end of that original array. We get this part here. So these are things we can do. What you can't do here, and what you can do in some other programming languages, is use negative indexes. So you can't start at the last element with a minus or something like that. That works in some other programming languages. It doesn't work here. What you also can't do is pick a higher end index than the original array has. We already get an error here that it's out of bounds. So the highest value you can select here really is the end index plus 1. Plus 1 because the last element by default is excluded. So to give you a way of targeting that last element as well, Go allows you to pick the index of the last element, which would be 3. The last element here has an index of 3, and add 1 to it. That's the highest bound